I'm sorry, did you say should we require it?
Yes.
For existing
homes and buildings to meet certain energy efficiency standards. Yes, I do.
I don't think we should require it. What we should be doing is encouraging it. We should make it possible, and that's what we did in community development. We worked with hundreds of homeowners in Knoxville over my tenure at the Community Development Department. And we made sure that any new homes that were built with city funds, which go to the nonprofit housing developers, that those were at a minimum Energy Star certified. And our own owner-occupied rehab program, we incorporated Earthcraft renovation standards. These are both third-party standards. And when we financed new construction with Knox Housing Partnership and CAC, 5 homes were built that were LEED Gold, not too far from here on Chestnut Street. So what I believe we should be doing is encouraging it and finding ways to finance that and make it available to people, particularly those of low income.
Thank you. And here's what I have to say. Some of the questions require background information, so some of them probably need to be rephrased. If you have a question regarding that, please simply ask me to clarify.
And I would like to clarify, I thought you said, I heard you say recommend, I thought.
Require.
Yes.
Very good. I'll be happy to clarify. Question number 2. One of the biggest barriers to energy efficiency improvements and clean energy developments are inconsistent short-term policies from the federal to the state to the local level. How will you ensure those policies ensure sustainability long-term?
Okay, you're going to have to explain that. Let's try that again.
Let's see, and I'll help try to pull the clarification to this. Some of the energy efficiency standards the federal government has in place through the EPA, some of those standards, when they come to the state level, trickle down to the local level, may not all the time have a balanced approach to them. Because as we all know, no money is always attached to those projects. So we must figure out how to put those two in place to make sure the opportunity for growth and development hits the local level in these economies. So the question then is, how can those policies or those recommendations from the federal level be transferred to the local level in order to improve jobs? Is that a little clearer? Because this is what the question says.
Honestly, no, but let me answer that as best I can.
Well, look at energy-related policies.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
I think that again, I'm going to sort of repeat my first answer on that. I think that the city needs to find ways to implement and to encourage and to make it possible for people to make their homes more energy efficient, and encourage developers. And I would like to see our development codes strengthened so that more green infrastructure and more green development is promoted in there. And so at the local, there are federal policies that are passed down to us, but where we have flexibility in the implementation or where we design our own policies, they should always be looking at how to work with the developer, work with the contractor, and work with the homeowner so that energy efficiency standards can be implemented. And we're doing that right now, as I've already mentioned. And I've only mentioned a few of the programs. There are many more that we're involved in right now doing that.
Thank you.
I think what we come into with a lot of these programs is maybe they have short-term grants and things like that. But, when we're talking about sustainable programs, let's talk about being able to sustain sustainable programs. And I think coming up with innovative ways to finance these programs, to keep money circulating in that system. Maybe it's very low interest loans, or maybe we partner up some of the grants with creative financing mechanisms through the city, through our utility companies and things like that. And so I would just say how we make these sustainable programs for us to sustain them over the long run is to find effective and innovative ways to fund them, to find financing for them, and to maybe even use our tax code somewhat to keep that progress and that movement forward until it takes hold on its own.
Very good, thank you. We're going to switch focus to green employment opportunities. How do you ensure that this push toward green employment will provide the quality careers Knoxville needs? And we'll begin with you, Mrs. O'Hara.
You're not taking turns?
We are, but it's candidate A, candidate B, then the opening statement goes to you, candidate B, and then candidate A.
Okay, I'll be glad to answer that.
Listen, I'm following our procedure.
Okay, so how do we promote green employment? Is basically, well, first of all, we did that the last few years, actually, when you think about our requirement that homes that we fund through the city, again, this is not requiring an individual homeowner, but as you access our city dollars and work with, and as we work with our nonprofit housing developers or in our owner-occupied rehab programs, as we require that kind of, the North Star renovation standards or the Energy Star, that in essence promoted green employment. And what I heard tonight, because the contractors had to hire people with those skills and people had to be trained to do that. And what I heard tonight with the KEAP proposal, I'm excited about exploring that further with this alliance because it is about providing funding for energy efficiency upgrades and then making sure that workers are trained in that so that they can do the work. So I support the continued expansion of that.
Thank you, Mr. Paget. Oh, I see my notes. I'm out of order. It's all good though.
That's okay. We'll get it.
I wasn't going to correct you. Neither was anybody else out here.
It's all good.
I want to take that last question because it's a great point. These things have to be sustainable, and I put out about a 30-page document, 28-page document, and one of those programs that I put out is a program I'd like to see Knoxville embark upon that's really popular in other areas. It's not my program. It's something that I read a lot about, and other areas are trying this. But I think in addition to, let me say quickly, working with TVA and the Generation Partners and things like that, and hoping that continues with federal tax credits, and I have 30 seconds to get this out, and state grants. I'd like to embark, and I'm going to use another question to put it in because I can't finish it in 30 seconds. But something I proposed with KEAP as a financing arm for the energy efficiency upgrading of our homes in Knoxville, and I'm going to switch another question that I have over to that to talk about it.
So here's what we do in order to self-correct. We'll give Madeline an opportunity to make a rebuttal, and then you can respond to what she says. How does that sound?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good.
Well, I would just add that one of the things that we did, which I would like to see continued, is when this is when we have empowerment zone funding, we actually funded a career center here, and one of the things they did was work with local people who wanted to get additional training, and they went through, for example, I know some people went through the solar training at Pellissippi, and so through our university or through our career centers with the state, the funding that's available there, that's another way to get green employment training for local citizens.
Okay, so the program that I would like to enact, I'd like to work with the city of Knoxville, working with the state we'll probably have to do some changing of laws to ask KUB to finance the energy efficiency upgrading of individual residences. I grew up in the Lonsdale. 15 seconds. Am I getting 30 seconds for this one? Because I can't get it in.
30 seconds.
I lived in Lonsdale, and we owned our home, but our home was very old. It was built in 1905. And our energy bill many times was $800 for water, utility, for gas and electric. And I'm getting to stop. I'll stop there and fit it in somewhere else in a minute.